This is Making It. Stories of success and achievement, inspiration and survival. Hosted by Mark and Paul Kinney and sponsored by More Financial Strategies, helping you make it through life. And now, here's Mark and Paul.
Welcome to another episode of Making It. This week, making it as a matador. And Mark, I will tell you, I have never, in probably my entire life, given 5 seconds of thought to being a matador.
You're joshing me.
But I know you have.
Oh, it's in my bucket list.
It's in your blood.
Yes, it's what I live for.
Yeah.
Being a matador.
But I will tell you, it's a fascinating tale. It is a fascinating tale.
And no better person
than Anthony Figueroa
to tell us about it.
Yes. So that's today's show. And he's going to give us the ins and outs and, lots of things that, I knew nothing about, had no idea.
Well, because you never asked me.
That's true. Yes, touche. Yeah. So we're going to jump right into today's show, making it as a matador. And I know you're going to have lots of questions. You probably already do have lots of questions. So they will get answered today on today's episode of Making It, sponsored by More Financial Strategies. So join us with Anthony Figueroa, making it as a matador.
When I was 2 or 3 years old, my parents told me that they took me to the bullfights in Nogales, which at one time was a very prominent bull ring. And during the bullfight season on Sundays, it would be packed. That was when Nogales was
a happening place.
Exactly. And more than half the bull ring was Americans. And I was infatuated by it. And since I was very, very young, that's all I wanted to
What was it? The danger? The excitement? I mean...
The ambiance, yes, the danger. It's not a sport. It's an art. And I was in my first bloodless bullfight when I was a sophomore in high school.
What's that mean, other than bloodless?
It was here in the United States, actually, and it was at the rodeo grounds.
And you pretend?
No, you just don't kill the bull.
Oh, okay.
But you do all the passes, and they brought young animals. They call novillos. They brought them from Mexico because the fighting bull isn't. You don't have them in the United States. It's a special
breed.
Breed.
It's how they groom them. It's how all of that.
Yes, but they've never been fought before. You can only fight a bull one time. And
whoa! What? You mean if I see a Spanish television and from Spain and there's a bullfight going on, that bull who's coming out and he's getting stabbed, and I don't know if that's the proper terminology. I haven't done a lot of research on bullfighting. That's the one and only time he's gone out to fight?
Only once. Because...
Well, other than if he loses, he dies. Right?
Not all the time.
Okay.
Not all the time. I say that it's the majority of the time, yes, that's accurate. But the animal learns what is happening. That's why...
I think I would after real quick stabbed in the back.
There's usually 6 bulls an afternoon with 3 matadors. And each matador fights twice in the afternoon. But if you go to a bullfight... I mean, a real bullfight, not one that's just put together. That's
for show.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it will last, I would say, about 40 to 45 minutes per animal, max.
So is it theater?
It's life and death theater. This isn't the Kardashians. Stay tuned for next week. That's what makes it. That's what makes it so intriguing, so
risky.
It's a dance.
It is. It's a ballet. It's a ballet in which the entire procedure, because there's a referee. Okay, they call it a judge or a president, depending if you're in Spain or in Mexico.
I didn't know that.
And there's rules that have to be maintained during that bullfight.
Had no idea.
I didn't either. So you can't like run around behind.
You have to do things in a certain sequence.
I would be running the entire time. What are you talking about?
But the bulls, they've never been fought. They're not trained.
Are they clueless as to what's going on? Where they walk out into a ring?
Pretty soon they realize, hey, something's up.
They're no different than, do you teach a great white shark to bite? They're bred. They've been bred for hundreds and hundreds of years. They're bred
to attack
and to kill. And you can't even put different breeds in the same corral, okay? because they would be very, very aggressive with each other.
It's kind of like pit bulls.
It's
certain dog breeds that are bred to fight.
And so as soon as
I don't
the
want
calf,
any letters from pit bull owners, okay?
as soon as the calf comes out of the mother, as soon as it can walk, it'll charge, even though it has no horns. It's bred to attack and to kill. That's what it's.
You just can't take any bull and stick him in there and think he's going to act that way.
It would be extinct if there wasn't a bullfight, because it cannot be used in any other manner. It is bred specifically for that one afternoon.
How old are they?
A full-grown bull is 4 to 4.5 years old.
And
That's their prime.
weighs how much? 1,200 pounds?
A good animal is 500 to 550 kilos. A kilo is 2.2 pounds.
That's a pretty good estimate.
In Mexico, they're smaller. And it's the same animal, but it's bred differently. In Spain, it's the way they attack. It's more ferocious. It's more violent. The body of the bull is much bigger. The horns are much bigger in Spain than they are in Mexico.
And they're not filing the horns.
They shouldn't. Okay, they shouldn't. That's called shaving the bull, where they take off like an inch. Which is the part that would really hurt you. You wouldn't know that. It
just went in.
I'm so glad they shaved them.
But it would be like taking off an inch of your finger. When you go grab the glass of water, you're going to come up short. But it's only good for a very short period of time.
What's the attraction to doing this? Why do people? So what's the attraction from your standpoint, and why do people go to see a bullfight? Are they looking for you to get rear-ended with a horn? Are they hoping they see that? Like why people go to a car race?
Yeah, is it like a car race where we just want to see the crash?
And you're going, it ain't going to be me today.
No. I would hope that that's not the reason. Every matador has his own style. Some matadors are very reckless, and they try to do things with a bull that seem impossible. But if you go to Spain, there's one or two ranches that as soon as they announce that ranch, that's going to bring the people. They don't care who the matadors are.
Oh, they want
to see the animals.
It's the bull.
It's in certain instances, and then there's certain matadors that the Plaza de Toros may have been drawing a third of the ring, half the ring at the most, especially in Mexico, and they announce so and so, and all of a sudden it's full because he
takes control of the whole atmosphere and everything
completely.
If somebody says, okay, I'm going to set out and I'm going to be a matador, do you have the expectation that probably sometime in my career,
ooh, here it comes,
I'm gonna get a gore? I mean, or is
it's like playing football and saying I'm never going to get hurt. You know it can happen. You know it's probably going to happen, but you don't think about it. And understand that in Spain, your young aspiring novilleros, they start like at 10 and 12 years old. Many of them go to a school in Madrid that teaches bullfighting, but they're much more mature than the kids in the United States, and they're 10 and 12 years old fighting small animals.
Well, it's like soccer in Spain. You know, the kid who's 12 years old in Spain or 15, 16 years old, he may already be signed to some pro club, whereas in the United States, 16 years old, you're still in high school and you're playing comp soccer or something like that.
Yes. So by the time they're 16, 17 years old, they're in what would be qualified as like AAA,
right?
If you were comparing it to baseball, but they've been fighting for the last 5 or 6 years.
There's matadors who are, I'm assuming, 40, 45? No,
that's old.
That's old.
Yeah, there are. Okay, but
if somebody's 35 and they're a star, they're an A-lister matador. Have they probably been gored once or twice?
Oh, a top-notch matador has been gored multiple times.
Oh, really?
Oh, multiple times.
And they still get back out there and keep doing this.
And they're not doing it for the money, because it's just like professional boxing. Probably 15 to 20% make a living at it. The others are struggling, but the 15 to 20% make a lot of money. They're millionaires.
So what separates the 20%er guy from the 10%er guy? Is he good looking?
Then what you're saying is I should probably go and try and be a matador.
It's
What is it? Is it a look? Is it their style? They've got a.
It's their style. Yes, it's their style. It's
arrogance. It's arrogance. Somewhat. I mean, that's not the right word, but man, they are
confidence.
Well, you have to be confident. It's no different than if you're standing in front of a dog that's growling and barking at you, and if you back down, that just gives the dog more confidence. But if you stand up to the dog, then all of a sudden the dog backs down like, oh, okay.
You're the alpha.
It's right. There was times in Mexico when I was in front of an animal and I knew I was in trouble. And
but you didn't want him to know that.
he knew I was in trouble. And there was other times that I felt invincible and nothing was going to happen.
So the guys who are in the A list, they exude the showmanship, the confidence.
But they're in front of animals constantly, okay? They have fought so many bulls, so many cows, because that's how they train too in cows. With cows, they charge just like the bulls do. They're just smaller. But they have fought so many animals that they're so experienced. They also, when you're hit the big time, they're going to pick which ranches they want.
It'd be like a prize fighter saying, well, I'll only fight that guy or that guy.
Exactly. It's very political.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very political also. There's matadors that won't fight with other matadors for whatever reason, or they...
Is it always just one guy?
No. In Spain, there's 7 to 10 matadors.
In the ring?
No. There's that are considered the upper echelon.
But there's only one in the ring with the animal at the time. There's not. No, I think that's what you were alluding to.
When it starts, is there more than one guy in the ring with the bull?
That's his helpers. And see, the bull comes in the ring, and the matador has a matter of minutes, seconds, to decipher: is he nearsighted? Is he farsighted? Does he charge with his legs or does he charge with his horns? Does he favor the right horn?
So he's sizing up the animal,
right? But he's not the one when he comes out. His helpers give it a couple of passes, and he just watches, and then they leave the ring, and then he comes in.
I had no idea. That's how it works.
Does the first series of, usually it's called the Veronica. That's with the big pink and yellow cape.
That's the voice of Anthony Figueroa on today's show, Making It as a Matador. I'm Paul Kinney with my brother Mark Kinney. This particular show, when you said, hey, we're gonna interview Anthony, he's a Matador, I went, a Matador?
Yeah, I have about 10 or 12 guys that I call close friends. They're all matadors, and
well, fascinating show.
This is where you want to talk about life insurance.
Yeah, you do have to talk about life insurance. You do.
When you talk about possibly getting gored, or just this is your final time in the ring, right?
Yeah. If you're interested in life insurance and you're a matador, call Mark at 296-4464. Seriously, I mean...
Yes.
Wow.
Because when you fill out a life insurance application, they
do ask stuff like that.
Well, they ask for avocation. They've added bungee cord.
I'm a matador.
Bungee cord jumping. They actually have that on most applications. Bungee cord jumping, race car racing, or
scuba diving.
And all that. But matador, that's not on, or like snake handler, that's not on the list.
Would they say, well, if you died from that, would they say, nah, you're not.
No, they would no, if you disclose it. Now look, Anthony.
So if you're a matador, get some life insurance, you're covered. You're okay.
Yeah, you would do, yeah. Yes, you do need to have life insurance if you're a matador.
Well, And seriously, if you want to talk to Mark about life insurance, give him a call, 296-4464. That's why we do the show. More financial strategies, morefs.com. Want to jump back into it?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's jump back into it with Anthony Figueroa, Matador, on Making It.
Every Matador goes to a bull ring with his own picador and at least 2 helpers.
What's a picador?
The guy who's on the horse that picks the bull, that's another stage of the bullfight.
How long does it last?
35 to 45 minutes per bull.
What do you say to the people who say,
This is inhumane.
This
is cruel.
Because it is. I mean, the reality is
if it's not done right, it is bloody.
We're going to get calls on this show, Mark.
It can be gruesome. But on the other hand, if it's done correctly, I've seen macho men, weeping in the stands. And because it's so emotional, it's so draining. It's so,
Why?
Because the bull dies.
No, because no.
Well, that's what I would say. But
I've seen it where the Matador has been gored 3 times. Okay,
And he's still standing.
and he's still standing, and he's still trying to produce. And the crowd is just going ecstatic, crazy because and this was the highest paid matador in the world is who I'm talking about. His name is Jose Tomas. And he was gored. He was in Madrid, which is considered probably the most prominent bull ring in all the world.
the pinnacle.
Okay, it is Madrid. Las Ventas is the name of the bull ring. And he was gored by his first animal, and then he was gored twice by his second animal, because he fights 2 animals. And
He was well enough to fight the second.
yes, but he was gored. He just didn't go in to go get stitched up. Okay,
He's just bleeding.
Yes. They tied a tourniquet and to slow down the blood. No, but understand that he has a responsibility to these people who paid top dollar to watch him. And
See, that first gore, I'm out. I'm saying, I'm done.
Forget the people. I'm out of here.
I want to live.
I'll give you an example. I went and saw the number 1 Matador. This was probably 5 years ago in Tijuana, Mexico. Okay, his name was Enrique Ponce.
He said his name was.
Is.
Okay, good.
Okay, and he still fights today. And
Number 1 in the world?
He's 42. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I got there, it was like the paparazzi. People from all over Mexico came to see him bullfight. His name is that.
Big.
Yeah, he's the one that puts more people in Plaza Mexico in Mexico City than anybody else. So he came to Tijuana, which is nothing to him.
Yeah, it's not like it's Barcelona or
No,
Madrid. Yeah.
nothing to him. Okay, but the paparazzi and everybody was there, and I have seen him fight hundreds and hundreds of times on video. I had never seen him fight before live. And so when I saw him get out of his vehicle and it's flashing all the cameras and this,
just out of curiosity, what was he driving?
no, they never drive. Somebody else is driving.
Oh, it's a limo. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, because they're driving him and his what they call the cuadrilla, his
posse,
his 2 helpers,
Yeah.
and his picador. Okay, because they all are together, and so he gets out of the vehicle. Then he goes into the capilla to pray, and then he comes out. And so I says, okay, I better get in the stands and get a seat. And it was almost full, and I've never seen Tijuana almost full. And there was an American couple in front of me. There were 2 couples. So then he fought, because they go by seniority. So he fought the first bull, and then the other 2 had fought. And the 4 people in front of me kept saying, I like the guy that's in the gray and gold. That was Enrique Ponce. There is something about him that is completely different than the other. Just the way he walks, the way he tells everybody where he wants the animal set. And I'm listening to all of this. And his second bull that he gets was a very small animal. Okay. and immediately the crowd started to throw cushions and yell and scream.
Wasn't good enough.
And somebody from the crowd, yells at the top of his lungs, and everybody heard it. He yells, "And you call yourself the best in the world?" Enriquez stopped, looked up, and then basically went to the judge or the president, who runs everything.
Says, "Give me another one."
And says, "I want another one." And he went and killed this one immediately. And then he went to the judge and says, "I want another one." Now
which is unheard of, right?
Well, he had to fight the next day near Mexico City. And then the next day, and then 2 days later, he had to fight in Mexico City. But understand, Tijuana's nothing to him. And he paid for that bull out of pocket. But for him to basically have the pride, the honor that I will show you why I'm number one. And the
crowd went wild.
They did. Crowd went nuts.
Yeah.
And they let the bull out that had probably been as a reserve. That's what they call them. Mm-hmm. By far, it was by far the biggest animal that afternoon. And it looked more like a Spanish bull because it was so big. And I'm understanding it differently than everybody else because I'm saying, number one, he didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
He had to get on a plane to go fight the next afternoon. And Tijuana is nothing. And this is a
no letters from people from Tijuana, please.
Millionaire. No, this is a multi-millionaire.
But that's why he is. He made the right decision to get the second bull.
Well, the third bull.
Third bull, right.
Yeah, but he didn't have to do that.
Right.
And if he wouldn't have done nothing and just killed that second bull, who cares? Because the bullfighting, the people who follow bullfighting don't say, well, he didn't fare well in Tijuana. No. I was there. I saw everything that was happening, and I was just mesmerized by knowing how great this guy is. And he had the honor and the prestige to say, no, I'm going to earn my money, and I'm going to show you why I'm considered the best in the world.
Number one.
And why you paid your ticket, which was more than the normal ticket, to come and watch me.
So is he a big guy? Because you're what?
No.
You're 5 foot. Are you 5'6", 5'4"? What are you?
I'm 5'4", 5'5". He's about 5'9", about 5'9".
So a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, or is that about the?
Yeah, and he's thin. He really, your Spanish matadors really take care of themselves. They have to, just because you can't make a mistake in Spain.
I was going to say, have you ever? How close have you come? Has there been times where you've thought, I'm lucky to be out of this ring?
Oh, I was gored twice.
Where?
In the head and in the groin.
I hate when that happens.
Oh my!
And your mom doesn't like it if she knows.
Well, she loves bullfighting,
but not when you're
doing it.
No, she doesn't like to watch me anymore. No.
And when it happened, did you continue?
Yeah, because I had a second animal to kill later that afternoon.
Hold it, in the groin. That's like
that was. I left after that to go get treated. But the one that where I had the second animal is when he opened up my
skull.
Yeah. But it was you know how you bleed more when you're cut in the head?
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And
can somebody, like in a prize fight, can they call it? Can they say, no, it's over? Or is it only the matador who can say it's over?
No. Well, the next in line then goes and kills your animal. But like in this happened 2 years ago in I want to say it was in Mexico. It was in Mexico City, or was it in Spain, where the bulls had gored all three matadors that were fighting that afternoon, so they had to suspend the bullfight because there was no more matadors left.
So the bull won.
All three were gored.
So what happens?
It wasn't the same bull. It was the bull of each matador gored them.
So when the bull wins, what happens to the animal after that?
The only time the bull remains alive is when the bull is so brave that the crowd starts to chant what they call indulto, which means
You
let
don't
it
want
go.
to. You don't want to.
We don't want to kill it.
You don't want to disrespect the
No,
bull.
they use the bull for breeding then. So they let the bull go alive.
That's the job I want.
Yeah, I'll do that job.
And now all the crowd is yelling, and they put up the white handkerchief to say, no, we don't want this bull killed. And they'll plead with the president or the judge, saying, no, we don't want this animal to die. And so then the animal goes out alive, and then they cure it. And honestly, in 2 months, you wouldn't even know that the animal had been in a bullfight. And that animal goes back to the ranch, and now he's going to be the stud, one of the stud bulls for that ranch. It's the ultimate honor. I've seen probably a dozen bulls that have been spared.
Are you learning something?
Totally.
Are you learning that you don't want to be, or you do want to be a matador?
Oh my goodness, no! I want to be in the stands. I think I'd get nervous there.
Yeah.
I think it'd be nerve-wracking just to be there. But
that's Anthony Figueroa, a friend of ours who's a matador, and he was kind enough to come in and be interviewed for our show, Making It as a Matador. Wow.
Yeah, it's either that or the Run with the Bulls. I mean, which of those?
I think he talks about that, or maybe I'm not sure if he did it in another conversation, but kind of the same. That's the amateur for the everyday guy. You and me, we could do the Run.
Yeah,
with
I think
the
I'd look
Bulls.
good in the tights though if I was out in the middle of the ring. What do you think?
Oh, as a matador?
Yeah, you know.
As a tights?
Yeah, the tights.
No,
you know,
you wouldn't look good in tights. Coming up next, our regular feature, Making It Through Life, sponsored by More Financial Strategies, and you'll hear more from my brother. That's coming up next.
We'll be back with more Making It right after this from More Financial Strategies.
Mark, I want to ask maybe a sensitive question, but on this edition of Making It Through Life, I want to ask the question, with all the financial stuff going on in the world, are people suspect of insurance companies, and what do you look for in an insurance company to know that they're solid?
Well, you know, that question comes up more times than it doesn't come up. And my response is you look at 2008, 2009, and the number of banks, as an example, that went out of business versus the number of insurance companies. The number of banks that went out of business is 100-fold in comparison to insurance companies. And the reason is the insurance companies have to have large reserves when they come into a business, come into a state to conduct business, whereas a bank is FDIC insured, but they operate under the premise of fractional reserve lending. As an example, you give a bank $100, they have to take $5 and put that on reserve. They loan that $95 that's remaining out 10 to 15 times. Okay, that's a bank. Whereas an insurance company, if you give them $100, they have on hand between $105 and $113. So you can see the vast disparity between.
Wait, it's the opposite?
It is. It's the opposite. So during 2008, 2009, the insurance companies were the ones who bailed out the banks. But people are concerned about that. Mark, what happens if this insurance company goes out of business? It's happened a handful of times over the last century. But the people have been made whole. Nobody has lost any money when an insurance company goes out of business. We think that's very strong. They have what's called a Comdex score. And most of the companies we deal with have a Comdex score at least in the 90 percentile, if not 95, 96, middle ranking of the 95s, the 90s. So that's important. You need to be working with a company who has great financials, who has been there. Many of our companies have been in business 110 years, 120 years. That bodes well. Shows you that they've been through many, many market cycles. So whereas being in the market is so much more sexier to say, hey, I bought Google stock. Hey, I bought Facebook. Hey, I bought Disney. You can't say that with insurance companies because it's pretty plain vanilla. But you know what? They are the ones who are designed for times like this. Uncertainty, economic volatility. That's why insurance companies exist. And that's why we're so proud to represent them, because they have guarantees.
Are you pretty selective about who you you work
We
with?
are, not just from their financials, but also from the customer service standpoint. We want them to be responsive. We want them to pick up the phone. We don't want it being shuffled to somebody in the Philippines who has a noticeable accent. And I have to say, I can't understand you. Can you please pass me on to an English-speaking supervisor? You don't want that. Our customers don't want that. They don't deserve that. They want to know that if they call us, the problem's going to be handled, or the issue is going to be handled, or the changes are going to be made, and we're not giving them, as like I say, the Keystone Cops scenario where one hand doesn't know what the other is doing. So if we can work with companies that are based here in this country, absolutely we will.
Okay. Phone number for Mark is 296-4464, 296-4464. More Financial Strategies. Website is morefs.com. Morefs. Curiosity, are people going to go More? How do you get the name More when your name is Mark Kinney?
Well, we bought a practice about 4 years ago, Susan Moore Vault, Moore, and so she has great reputation here in town, great name recognition, so there was no point in changing the name.
All right, that makes sense. Give Mark a call, 296-4464 at More Financial Strategies. Back now to Anthony Figueroa, our third segment of Making It as a Matador.
Do you feel sorry for the animal?
No, because the animal would be extinct. I said that earlier. If there wasn't the bullfight, the fighting bull would serve no purpose in life. It would be extinct. There would be no use.
It's kind of like hunting, get big game hunting.
Okay, when you say big game hunting, that's a good analogy. I'll even go better. Okay, for those that don't shoot straight or whatever the elements, and you wound the animal and you never find it. Is that cruel? Or you have your bow hunter who shoots it and doesn't hit it in the exact same place and you don't find it.
Yeah, and the deer goes running off with an arrow in its butt.
Exactly. I mean, yes, when you say, do you ever feel for the animal? I feel because I cannot kill it properly or quickly, okay? Then I'm more angry at myself that I'm not able to terminate this phase of the fight in the proper manner. Because if you put in the sword where it should be, it dies very quickly. Okay? But if you don't put it in the right place, well, then it can linger on a little.
So is that the art? The art is placement
of the sword.
Yeah.
But that's the art is that's just the culmination. That's the last phase of the bullfight. Okay? Because you have the big yellow cape at the beginning.
See, I didn't know that. Okay.
Then you have
I thought it was a red cape.
no, that's the fourth phase.
Oh, okay.
Then you have the picadors, okay, that come in that pick the bull.
That's where you see the little lances sticking out of them.
No, that's the
Paul,
third phase.
come on, everybody knows that. Go ahead.
That's the third phase. They're called the banderillas, okay? That it's like a little fish hook. And then the fourth phase, which is the most important, and this is where the matador earns his money, is everybody leaves the ring and he gets the little red cape called the muleta that has the little stick. Right. Okay, so you can hold it, and he can use the sword, and he's not using usually the sword. It's a practice sword, what they fight with, because the regular sword weighs a lot, and he can use the sword to open the muleta up a little bit. When you fight with the right hand, you see that the sword is opening up the cape a little wider. When you fight with the left hand, it's called the natural. That's when the cape is small.
I had no idea. It's like there's four, like a play. There's 4 acts.
There's 5, and then the fifth
5. I mean,
is it you kill the bull, okay, and you kill it properly. Believe me, if you don't kill it properly,
it's going to kill you.
No, the crowd hates it too.
Oh.
Okay, the crowd in Mexico and Spain, they'll cheer and boo and everything else because they value that animal. Okay, that animal is giving its life, and you're not doing your job. You're not killing it in the proper manner. And you can have fought this animal to the nth degree as far as grace and this, but if you can't kill it, your performance was.
It's like, what have you done for me lately? Kill the animal.
That's exactly right. Because killing the animal is one of the major distinctions of whether you get 1 year, 2 years, 2 years and a tail.
What does that mean?
Those are the awards. So 1 year is you did good. 2 years, you were very good.
What do you mean years?
Ears.
Oh, ears.
And then 2 years in the tail, they give them in Mexico. They don't in Spain. You don't very rarely see 2 years in a tail in Spain. And then the indulto is that the bull was that good.
Does the Matador ever get a free T-shirt at the end?
Now, I think the Matador is relieved that he did his job and that he can fight another
What
day.
happens to the animal? Did they butcher the animal? And the meat is what? What happens?
All of the meat is used. There's nothing that goes to waste.
No, who gets the meat?
We gave all the animals to the butcher to give to the poor. But in Mexico City, they have like a butcher shop right there, and the animals are hanging, and people are in line to buy the meat.
Wow.
There's nothing that goes to waste. Okay.
No, what I'm gathering, and I'm walking away with the it's more. The word's not dignity, but the as you said, you mentioned the ambiance, the whole. It's a ritual. It's from the start to the finish, and everything in between, everything afterwards. There's something. What's the word? There's just something about the experience,
and it's from the Matador getting dressed. Okay, that ambiance is very somber. It's usually very serious,
sacred, somber, sobering.
Yes. Right. Because the somebody has to help dress him because you couldn't put it on by yourself. The suit, it's too tight.
Is it heavy?
Yes, it is heavy, and then the bulls, okay, at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon are being sorted. So you go to the bull ring, and usually the Matador doesn't go to the bull ring; his manager does, and they sort the bulls, the biggest horns, let's say, with the smallest horns, or this or that, and they write it on cigarette paper, and they put it in a hat, and you get a lot of people that come because they want to see
just that
who's going to fight these two, who's going to fight these two.
Do they have names?
Yes, all of them do, and all the so when
I mean the bulls.
Yes, when the bulls are going to come out, each one, okay, a person goes out in the middle of the ring, and he usually has a sign with the bull's name and when he was born and his weight. And so they twirl the sign, and so they know, okay, this bull weighed X amount. This is his name. And he was a legitimate 4.5 years old.
So there have been times where the Matador has been killed?
Mm-hmm.
What happens at that stage of the whole event?
Do people come racing in to save him, or is it like...
Oh, yes. Everybody comes in. Okay. That's why you have your helpers. But even not just the Matador's helpers, everybody is on deck.
How do they get the bull?
They have to distract it away from the Matador. The last couple of Matadors that have died, actually there was one that died, a famous Matador in Spain, and it wasn't even his bull. He was doing what's called a quite, which is it's your bull, and you're letting me do a couple of passes with it. Okay, this was.
Bet he regrets that.
I want to say 2 years ago.
Jeez.
And he did a pass, and then the bull like tripped him up, and then the bull put its horn.
Oh my goodness.
And it pierced his lungs and close to his heart, and he actually died of beside the bleeding of a heart attack. But he was dead within minutes. Then there's been other Matadors. There was this is coincidental. This happened in 1984. A very famous Matador, very famous. His name was Paquirri, and he was gored in like a third-class bull ring by what they call a small bull. and it was gruesome because he was on the horn for a long time. And they even have this on video.
Oh, great.
We can YouTube that.
Yeah,
Mark.
No, I'm not. You can YouTube it because the camera followed him from the whole time that he was on the horn. It opened up his thigh, and all the way into the infirmary. In the infirmary, they're getting scissors to cut the suit off. Okay, and his leg is just completely split open. Everybody's in a panic but him. And he's telling everybody, calm down.
But he died.
He died on the way to the hospital because they couldn't operate him there. And the closest hospital, it's a long story, but was a little over an hour away. And he died just before getting to the hospital. Now, the Matador who killed his bull, okay, a year later, a young kid, again, very famous, up and coming, his name was El Gio. And it was his last bull. He had done worthy of 2 years, okay? Tremendous. In control the whole time. He had put the sword in the animal, and the bull turned around. Still nothing. He's standing there. The bull charges him and throws him on the ground. Okay? He's still not gored. Okay? But he tries to get up, and the bull still pursues him. And so the Matador is almost like on all fours. The bull puts his horn underneath his armpit and parts his heart. He's dead immediately. He lifts him up. It wasn't violent. Okay, again, this is on YouTube. It's very famous. He lifts him up off the ground, now to the point that the man is standing on the horn, and drops him, and he's dead. Everybody comes to see him, but you wouldn't think he's dead because it wasn't
so quick.
Gruesome. No, but they lift him up. Everybody lifts him up, and you can just see his face that the bull parted his heart.
And does the whole event go on after that?
Yeah, because there was one more bull, I think, that afternoon, because he was second. No, have to have been two more bulls because he was one of the younger Matadors.
How do you go on after that?
Well, he didn't.
Well, he didn't, but
the crowd is just. Because everybody knows, they announce it that
he's
passed away, and all of a sudden it becomes somber, and people just want to pay or crying. They leave, but
the snack shack stays open.
But and they if you see
everybody's eating nachos at that point.
If you see these two gorings, it helps you more understand. The bull isn't the only one that is shedding blood, especially the first one that I told you with Paquirri, where the camera follows him into the infirmary.
Oh my God, I can't. I don't think I could watch that on YouTube.
They put him on the table, and everybody is just going crazy. Everybody's in hysteria, except he's saying to everybody, calm down, calm down.
And this is on film.
This is totally on film, and he's saying, this is a serious goring. I've been gored twice. One is this way, one is the other way, and the camera just has... it's amazing. This video is simply amazing because they cut the suit off, and it had just opened his thigh completely, and it just fell apart, and he's bleeding to death, and
we'll cut that part out.
But if somebody sees that happens, then okay, there is another part that
it's not always 100, bull 0.
Knowing that that's a possibility, that's not a job I think I would aspire to. But that's
look at the people in Pamplona.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Do you know how many Americans are
nuts?
running with the bulls? People think that they're all Europeans. No. Many of the 8 or 10,000 that are running with the bulls, okay, they're saying like 40% are from America.
Certifiably nuts.
Yeah, and just about every year
Yeah.
somebody dies.
Yeah.
Our guest today on Making It and Making It as a Matador is Anthony Figueroa. He hasn't sold me on it yet. I'm not sure I'm ready to jump and
Well, we could have called this "Making It Alive." Can you
Making
imagine? He mentioned that.
I can't watch the YouTube stuff.
No,
You know,
I know you were Googling it and everything, but at least the good thing is if the bull wins, they don't cut off the Matador's ears. I guess that that would be a good thing. But your comment about the nachos, seriously, or was that me commenting?
That
about
was
the
me. That was me,
Okay,
yeah.
the nacho thing.
yeah.
But yes, I think there is a certain amount of respect, and he's certainly given us more than I hadn't thought about behind the scenes look at really the entire sequence of when you get dressed and picking out the bulls and how they write the number and the name on cigarette paper versus on a sticky note.
I was just Googling how many people, how big are bull rings? How big are bull rings? And I don't know. How many people is that? How many thousands of people
do they
are
have
watching?
nachos at bull rings? I
don't
think
know.
so.
Do they have those little corn things that they, that they're on the little stands?
The churros and everything?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, let me go get a couple
You
churros
should have asked
after
that, Anthony.
after that goring.
Yeah. We got one final segment coming up, and that's next on Making It.
You're listening to Making It with Mark and Paul Kinney. We'll be back with our final segment right after this message from More Financial Strategies.
What clients want to know a lot of times, Paul, is what's in it for me? What's in it for them? When they come in, they sit across the table from us. We allow them, because it's the most important part of the meeting, is we want to hear their story. Tell us what's important to you. And that gives them, both the husband and the wife, we want them both there. And surprisingly, many a time, the stories are very different. The wife wants one thing, the husband wants something else. We have found that men are certainly much more of a risk taker than the woman is.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. The women are so much more security minded. Their goal is to have that house paid off, as an example, as quickly as possible. The guy doesn't necessarily want to do that, but the gentleman does want to make sure that should something happen to him, his wife is taken care of. His family is taken care of, whether it's a premature death or going into a long-term care or having what we call an extended care event at home. That's important to them. So how can we give them what they're looking for? Takes probably the majority of the meeting to come to a better appreciation and an understanding as to what's important to them. And that's our job by asking great questions.
Well, if you want somebody who's a good listener, give Mark a call. He is a good listener.
And then I said it. Okay, I'm just
296-4464 is More Financial Strategies. 296-4464 or morefs.com. All right, our final segment now with Anthony Figueroa, Making It as a Matador.
What's your advice to somebody who wants
an
to
aspiring
get
bullfighter.
If I could talk to God and ask him, if he says, okay, I'm gonna let you do this life all over again. I want to be 10 years old and I want to go to the school, and that's the age that I want to train and get ready to do this profession, rather than doing it like I did, where I was 18, okay, and just trying to
And you were too late.
learn, and I was too late. Yeah, and I was definitely too late, because by 18, you should know if you're going to be able to make it or not.
So I guess this is just like anybody else who says, I want to play professional baseball. And they know that when they're 8 years old or 6 years old, or soccer or football or basketball or bullfighting.
Well, yeah, because you can't train in the United States. Okay? These guys, these kids, they're going to ranches, and remember I told you that the bull can only be fought once. So they're fighting the cows. And the cows charge, okay? And the ranches have what they call tientas, where they test the cows to see which cows are we going to keep, because those are the cows that we're going to have to breed with our stud bulls. Not all the cows are used. The ones that are not brave enough, okay, they're going to slaughter. But this is the opportunity for all your up and coming, as well as your regular matadors.
Where are these schools? Spain, Mexico?
In Spain.
In Spain.
Yeah. In Madrid and in Sevilla.
Did you go and you live there? If you're a student?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like soccer then.
It's right. That school prepares you to be a matador. And because it's a technique. It's not like you just move the cage.
Do parents
can't wait that their kids aspire?
Yeah.
Are there female matadors?
Yes, there are. Now they've never made it to what the male is heavily dominated by male, but yes, there are female.
Well, that will
matadors.
change here down the road.
There are female matadors.
Oh, yeah. The day will come where one will be a superstar. You don't think so?
No.
Don't send us letters.
One is being
Send him letters.
being given the opportunity, because the only way that you become good is constantly fighting. And I don't think that in that profession that they're going to be given that opportunity to fight on such a regular basis.
An A-lister matador, how many fights does he do a year?
60 to 100.
Wow. That's a lot of risk.
It is. And that's just when we're talking about fighting, we're talking about fighting.
And I mean, that's an event. One of those is the event where he
Correct.
goes and does 2 bulls.
Correct.
Right.
Or he could do 3. Let's say it's a mano with just 2 matadors. Okay?
Huh.
And occasionally, once in a
So he's doing
while,
he's doing at least one a week.
yes, but he's probably fighting in ranches
For practice.
2 or 3 other days. But then you have travel too. Okay?
Yeah.
You cannot let your guard down in this profession. You
None.
cannot take your eye
Can't
off.
make a mistake.
None. Well, not only that, but even if you're good, you have so many young matadors that want to take your place. And if you don't give 100%, there's so much
The crowds let you know.
yeah, but there's so much competition, and there's so many other young kids that are very, very good that just need the opportunity.
So do you have the bug? Do you want to be a matador like
Absolutely.
Anthony Figueroa?
No.
I have a greater appreciation for it. I will
Well,
tell you that.
do. I'll tell you. Talk about, yes, confidence. It's a mind game. You
You know what I was thinking? The word we were missing earlier: stage presence. When I I didn't look at him really, but the Googled,
it's an unwavering confidence.
yeah, it's a stage presence that people are looking at.
Especially after you get gored.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. And
You're chunking on a churro and the guy gets gored.
Although you know
let me
what,
go get some nachos.
I don't quite honestly. I don't understand. These
I know it's-
cage fighting stuff, and where you're. I don't understand that.
Pretty brutal.
Maybe we should have somebody like that on the show.
We could do that.
Yeah, we could. Hey, next week on Making It, it's making it from scratch. Have you ever been on an airline flight and they serve you a muffin or a roll, or you go into Walmart or Albertsons and there's a loaf of bread or a croissant and you ask yourself, who made that? Well, we're going to tell you who made that. It's strictly from scratch in Phoenix, Arizona Wholesale Bakery. And they make all the muffins and the rolls for the airlines and lots of grocery stores. So you're going to meet Rudy, the master baker. Sorta, kinda. Here's a taste of what's coming up next week on Making It from Scratch.
What is this?
It is a sour cream and chive tea loaf that we individually wrap and sell to Hawaiian Airlines.
You gotta try that, Paul.
Oh, is it?
Oh my goodness.
Very different.
Yeah. You got the sweet, then you got a little bit of sour cream coming through, and the chive.
Who came up with this?
Me.
Really?
I'm very creative. Not very handy, but very creative.
It's good. So next time I'm on my Hawaiian Airlines flight to Maui,
There you go.
This will be it.
This will be it, or I don't know what. We sell 4 of them to them. We sell them roasted red
good.
pepper. And
This is our breakfast, by the way.
and Asiago cheese. We sell them a cheddar cheese, and we sell them a sun-dried tomato and mozzarella.
That's Making It from Scratch, next week on Making It. For my brother Mark, I'm Paul Kinney. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Making It. We hope you join us next week.
If something good is bound to happen.
Yeah, in the meantime, if you'd like to talk to Mark about financial things, give him a call, 296-4464, 296-4464 at morefs.com. That's More Financial Strategies.
You've been listening to Making It with Mark and Paul Kinney, brought to you by More Financial Strategies. The information covered today is designed to provide general information on the subjects covered. It is not, however, intended to provide specific legal or tax advice. It can't be used to avoid tax penalties or to promote, market, or recommend any tax plan or arrangement. You're encouraged to consult your tax attorney or advisor. By contacting us, you may be provided information regarding the purchases of insurance products, including annuities. Guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurer. Riders may be available for additional cost. Product and features may vary from state to state. For full details on how life insurance works, including fees, expenses, and costs, contact our office at 296-4464. Mark Kinney is a financial professional licensed in the state of Arizona.